All right. Okay. Let's pause and let's dissect. Number one, I'm glad that it's backwards compatible. And I realized that they confirmed this a couple months ago on Twitter. If you've been tapped into Nintendo's social media and actual Switch 2 updates, I have not really been for the last couple months, so this is all new to me. But if you've been tapped in, they did confirm on Twitter that it was going to be backwards compatible, and I just missed this. So I spent 2 months speculating for no reason, essentially, which is awesome. That's number one. Number two, we're getting a direct in April. I am very excited. I will be reacting to that one on time. So the old Joy-Cons are incompatible with the Nintendo Switch 2. Okay, this is interesting. Because I had thought before that they were going to make it so that it would be some kind of like 3DS to DS mechanism with the Joy-Cons, where the new Joy-Cons could only be used on the Switch 2, but old Joy-Cons would still be compatible. It seems they've taken that out completely, and they now use like a locking mechanism, like a port. Now, obviously, that was made to circumvent the homebrew community because they figured out the Switch 1 with that little sliding. They figured that out way too early for Nintendo to like. So they obviously had to get that out. I really, really like the kickstand. I love that they gave it a much sleeker kickstand. I'm very curious. Hold on. I'm very curious as to what the top USB-C port is for on the top of the console next to the headphone jack. I wonder if they made that a second charging port, because one of the complaints about the original Switch was that you couldn't charge it while it's in handheld mode. So if that's a second charging slot, and also potentially, I doubt Nintendo would ever do this, but a data transfer slot, that would be very interesting, and I'm very curious to see if they would do anything with that. Again, I highly doubt they would. Nintendo is very lock and key. They're very rigid in how they want you to use their system. So I highly doubt that they would allow any type of data transfer officially on this console. It would get modded to absolute hell and back. Again, way too fast for Nintendo to be comfortable with. I like that they clarified that it is bigger than the original Switch. This is very cool. I like this. It looks like it's probably going to be like a 7-inch display, which is crazy. The new Joy-Cons are also interesting because I'm looking at them here, and they have obviously all the regular buttons. They have the same Joy-Con buttons, right? They have the home button and they have the capture button, but they have a second capture button on the bottom, underneath the home button, and I'm curious as to what that is. I have no idea what that could even be, because it wouldn't be another share button. It might be like to change something to do with the Joy-Con. It might be like to change control method. It might be to modify something. It might be an unlock. It might be a fingerprint sensor. I don't know why Nintendo would do that. I'm just trying to think out of the box right now, because this is the first new Nintendo console, and this is the first one that I've actually been able to react to the release of, so I'm very excited for this. And I like that it pops out kind of with the color, and I feel like that button there has to unlock something, because it almost looks like, and I did see a couple leaks about this the other night before this came out, it looks like it almost has mouse feet. It looks like it almost has like little rubberized feet on the bottom there, and that's why it sticks out, and it looks like it has an optical sensor. That, I could be wrong, but it looks like an optical sensor next to the plug-in slot. So I'm curious if there's going to be games where you use the Joy-Con like a mouse, if Nintendo is going to release an official keyboard, if we're going to get another ASCII controller like the one from the GameCube. That would be crazy. And I actually kind of really want to see that now, because the scene where they're sliding, it looks like that looks very like they're trying to hint at you use that as a mouse. And they have little jackets. I'm just now noticing they have little jackets that go around the extended bit, and that extended bit goes into the console. So that's where the locking mechanism is, and that's where they are keeping. Well, that's where you put on the Joy-Con strap instead of just locking it onto the thing. Because another complaint about the Switch, and I'm so glad that they fixed this. A complaint about the Switch was that you could put on the wrist straps backwards and get them stuck on the Joy-Con. So I'm really glad they fixed that. You can't mess that. There's no way it slides on. There's no way you can mess that up. And if Nintendo somehow made some way that you can mess it up and put them on backwards, if you intentionally put the wrong strap on the wrong thing, I don't know why they would do that, but if they did, it's kind of your own fault. I'm surprised they went with just straight up Nintendo Switch 2 for the console. I thought they would have had a more creative name for it. Like, I'm surprised that you didn't even go with something like, if they didn't try to do like a nostalgia callback to be like the Super Nintendo Switch. Like, that would have been crazy. But also, we know about Nintendo's history with naming their consoles too similarly to another one. Like, Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, right? The biggest one that would probably come to mind for most of you is the Wii to the Wii U. A lot of people thought that was just a peripheral. A lot of people thought it was just a gamepad. So I can see why they wouldn't want to do that again. And it looks like they're showing off a new Mario Kart here. Those do not look like the Mario Kart 8 models. So I heard some people saying that Mario Kart was going to be a launch title. Hopefully that is true. Because I also did hear some people saying, like, a long time ago, like last year, that Mario Kart, the next Mario Kart game, was going to be coming out in 2025. That same leak also said that it was going to be the Switch 2's second year on the market, so not all things held up. But the fact that they're showing a new Mario Kart this early on, it signifies to me that it's going to be at least in the first year, if not a launch title. Because if we look back to the Switch, right? I know I'm making a lot of callbacks to the Switch. Even in all of my speculations, I've made a lot of callbacks to the Switch. They only showed off year one titles in that initial trailer, right? They showed off, what did they show off? Breath of the Wild. They showed off Mario Kart. They showed off, I think, NBA 2K for some reason. They showed off Skyrim. And they showed off Mario Odyssey. So those were all year one titles, and they could have shown off more that I'm forgetting about. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, they also showed Splatoon. But that was also a year one title. So it only makes sense for them to show a Mario Kart, and this is probably the one they want to emphasize the most. Like, hey, there's gonna be a new Mario Kart on the Switch too, because let's keep in mind Mario Kart 8 originally on the Wii U came out in 2014. It is going to be 11 years old in May. Let that sink in. And I like that they did clarify that it is backwards compatible. I know you already talked about that, like, first thing. That was for one of the first things I mentioned. But I'm glad that they had a little slide to it so that they show that you can play Switch games on the Switch 2, because that's something I was worried about, like I said. Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date. So that is interesting to note, that not all Switch games will be able to work on the Switch 2, but at least a vast majority of them will, I think it's safe to assume. And I wonder... Oh, wait, never mind. Plays both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Okay, I was just going to say, I wonder if you can back up, log into your old Switch downloads. But they already confirmed that for me. And we're getting the first Nintendo Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd, 2025. Mark your calendars. Keep an eye out for any information. I think it's safe to say Nintendo's going to be very tight-lipped until April about the Nintendo Switch 2. I think, honestly, it may have been that they were just getting so many leaks that they felt like they had to announce it. But either way, I'm glad that they did. It still falls in line with releasing it before the end of the fiscal year. I was kind of on the I was certain for a while that they were going to announce it in March, because it'll been like, oh, 10 years since we announced the first Switch. Here's the second one. Like, yeah, that they would do something like that at the same time. And I'm curious to what the Nintendo Switch 2 experience is going to entail, because it's a series of hands-on events held around the world. For more details, please check the website. I wonder what that's going to be like, because I know they had the Nintendo Switch experience. I don't know if it was called that, but they had in the Nintendo Switch, like, you could go into the Nintendo store in New York and use a Nintendo Switch, like, a month before it came out, right? They had the little demos, the kiosks. I think it was only up for a little bit. And I only remember that from the D&D videos of waiting the month for the Switch. So I'm going to cut myself off here. So that's going to be the end of my kind of speculation for the Switch 2. I don't know how long this video is going to be. This is just kind of my immediate ramblings after the trailer. I'm cutting this video up into like 2 parts. But yeah, so that is the Nintendo Switch 2, or rather, that's what I think about it. So, yeah, I'm going to cut myself off. Like I said, I'm going to be making probably another video of a more like in-depth kind of looking at it and figuring out realistically what features it's going to have. I'm going to be looking at some leaks that came out based on like features that it might have, because I've been avoiding all leaks until any official announcement. So now that it's been officially revealed, I'm going to be looking at some leaks. I'm going to be, taking a look at what people have been predicting for it. If there's anything on a release window, a price point, launch titles, all that good stuff, I'm going to be taking a look at that probably in another video. So look out for that. I don't know when it's going to be uploaded. But with that being said, I'm going to cut myself off here. So with that being said, and with that all out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like down below. And a comment telling me what you think is going to be in the Nintendo Switch 2, what you're expecting. I don't know why I look so short in this angle. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to, or what you're looking for in the Nintendo Switch 2, what you think it's going to have, what you've been seeing that it might have, because again, I'm blind to all this. This is all fresh to me, so some of you guys have been looking at some leaks and actually keeping up with the news, so let me know what you guys are calling for. Let me know what you think, all of that. It's theory time, guys. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. Gonna be making a lot more Switch 2 content leading up to the release of this thing. It's gonna be an exciting time. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Kind of messed up my outro a little bit there, but